The next segment, as I mentioned before, we're trying a little something different called You Can't Handle the Truth. We're going to give our honest opinions on some of the things going on around the NFL. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Handy. Anthony Richardson, Colts quarterback, was injured again this past Sunday. And he joins a long list of like mobile running quarterbacks who seem to get injured frequently. He's been injured like 3 times already this year. Is there a thing with mobile quarterbacks being able to stay healthy in the NFL? What do you think, Andy?
Yes. Especially Anthony Richardson acts like nobody ever explained to him if you run past the line of scrimmage, that makes you eligible to be. You could be tackled behind the line of scrimmage, but if you are brave enough to, step across the line of death, you gonna get your head took off. You think he's been playing at Florida all them years, getting knocked upside his head by multiple teams in the SEC? You think he know by now? I should not go over there. They don't like me on that side over there. I'm gonna stay on this side and try and throw the ball over there instead of trying to run it over there. And he just keep getting hurt. I don't know, Coach. I run with the ball and they just keep hitting me hard. I don't like that. But yeah, I joke, but yes, there is, because that's a big thing for defensive. That's a big thing for defensive players. You run it? I'm coming. Let's go. Like Deion said, we coming. Somebody might even risk a flag to throw a forearm up against your head. I'm not even lying because how often does a DB get a flying tackle at a running quarterback? Very rarely.
Rarely. Because usually they give themselves up.
Yeah,
once they give themselves up, you can't touch them anymore.
Yeah, and then sometimes they still be like, "Oh man, I ain't mean it. I was trying to jump over him." With my helmet aimed directly at his solar plexus.
Yeah,
it just worked out that way. Gravity had flipped me. Y'all know, doing that theory of gravity, the heaviest part of me, the helmet and all the equipment, it flipped me over the physics, and so I got caught by centripetal force, and I hit it right in the chest. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to jump over. You gonna throw the flag anyway? Okay. I'm just saying, I said all that. I said all that to say, as a quarterback, you are playing in a league that is designed to. Literally, the rules are you almost can't blow on a quarterback anymore. So at this point in the game in 2023, if you're out there trying to run and do like you did in college, you are basically looking for. I don't mean to wish that on nobody, but you're looking for a concussion. You're looking for somebody to not. You get tackled and the legs get tangled up, and now you tore your MCL, your PCL, your LL Cool J, and everything else. You understand? So, I'm sorry. I'm riffing here. I'm not doing none of this on purpose. I'm in this mood today. But that's how it goes. Am I lying? Is somebody stop me if I told a lie?
No, not at all. You are 100% correct. Even Sean said you're 100% correct, Andy. That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
they're coming for you, and if they can get a hit on you, they will. Absolutely.
And if they can take the quarterback out of the game, they'll take
100%.
They'll take the fine. They'll take the penalty because now the quarterback's out of the game, and you've affected the other team's offense. So, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. 100%. I couldn't agree more, my friend. Thank you very much. That was a great take, Anthony. Delilah, we're going to come to you next. Bill Belichick, for years, has been the man in the NFL. We know about all the titles. Tom Brady. We know about all of it. But in the last 2 games, New England has been outscored 72-3. 72-3 the last 2 weeks. Mac Jones isn't doing well. His development doesn't look good. Is this spelling the end for the Belichick era in New England? What do you think, Delilah?
Well, one, I'll go back and remind you, last season I told you Mac Jones wasn't the guy. But anyway, I digress.
Right. You were correct. You can toot your own horn a little bit there, right? Mac Jones is not the guy. I remember.
And I believe that Bill was not making a good decision with that. And I think what people are recognizing is I don't know so much about his career ending as a coach. Well, maybe he shouldn't be like the GM. where he's choosing the players and he's making like the ultimate decision on who plays on his teams, because I just don't think he can scout. And it happens, right? I just don't know if he could scout modern talent like what you need now, right, in the modern NFL. Excluding Tom Brady, who's just a freak of nature that no one thought coming out of Michigan in the 5th round, right? He just had his chance, and from that is just, that doesn't happen for everyone, except maybe now we're looking at Brock Purdy, right, as a part 2, maybe. Yeah. But still, realistic, it doesn't really happen that often. It's not something we see. And so I think what we're going to see, I think maybe the shift in his decision making when it comes to players, right? Who kind of, especially at quarterback, I think that's where we're probably going to see some shift in that area, because I just don't think he's making the right decisions when it comes to that anymore.
True. Right.
I also feel like this vindicates, and again, I'm not saying one way or the other, but it does vindicate Tom Brady when he was saying, he won all those games because of me, basically. He never said it officially, right? But we know he did it offhandedly or whatever. And so
sure. He felt that way, I'm sure.
Right. So, but I don't think they're going to fire him. You don't fire Bill Belichick after one, after a season like this. I just don't see that happening. But I do think he's gone next season if he has another losing season. I think his era is done, right? There's only so much, and I think that the Patriots are ready to bring in a new flavor, new direction. I think they're looking at all these young coaches, right? Daniels in Miami. And then you're looking at Shanahan in San Francisco. You know what I mean? And I think that they're looking at these younger, up and coming, coaches that are making changes based on the way the game is played now, right? Like you have your younger quarterback. It is a passing game, but we're noticing that they're athletic, right? They also need to move in the pocket, right? They need to run the ball. And so I think that not this season, but next season, if he cannot get back to where he was, right, winning games and winning divisions and stuff, I think he'll retire before he gets fired. I don't think he wants to go out that way. I think that he might give himself one more season, and if he can't get it done, he himself will retire. I don't think it's going to come down to him getting fired. I think he'll retire before that happens for himself and to save his. You know what I mean? I just don't think he'd want to go out that way. And I think because Kraft really does respect him and, he did get him 6 championships, I think he'll give him that out. He'll probably have that conversation like, listen, just not, you know what I mean? Like that breakup kind of conversation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he's going to give him his own out, like, listen, why don't you resign? And then,
that ain't giving him no out. Like, why don't you resign? I ain't gonna fire you, but you need to resign.
Right. I feel like
let you do this right.
Yeah, I think that's how that conversation will go. I don't think it'll happen this season, but I think next season for sure. I think we'll see the end of Bill Belichick.
Well, what did they do? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Nick. What did they? Delilah, what if they just completely crap the bed the rest of the way through the season? You think he'll still give him that chance?
I think he'll quit. I don't think I think he'll do that himself. Like honestly, I think if it's that bad, right? If he can't recover, if it's really that bad that he can't recover at all, that he can't win any games. I think Mac Jones got injured too, right, or something, right? And he might not even be available to play. So I think that if it really is an embarrassing season, the worst that he's ever felt, I think for his own pride, I think he himself will walk away this season.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see. Go ahead, Tina.
What I was also going to say is one of the things that Belichick did, which is what a good head coach should do, is he surrounded himself with the best coaching staff underneath him. And a lot of people, and I'll make fun of Coach McDumdum all day. I will do it. But everybody needs to remember that Josh McDaniels is the one who coached Brady, brought up Garoppolo. So, that's the thing. It's not so much was it Belichick? Was it him? Was it the DC? Was it here? And that's the thing. All these guys that Belichick had underneath him, a lot of them have gone on to play for they're at other teams now. They're not with him. So you're not keeping the defensive guys you used to keep for years. And so I've been seeing the wheels start to come off for a while. Now, I love the fact that the wheels came off. I'm not going to lie. So I think it is 50-50 on the question when everybody says, well, because Brady won another Super Bowl, that means he's better. I'm like, yeah, but he won another Super Bowl when, like, let's give Belichick some props here. The man is a genius. And but he surrounded himself with great coaches underneath him that were able to get his ideas across and do these. So, but I agree with Delilah. I think if it all goes to hell in a handbasket, he's going to quit before he's asked, because he doesn't. He wants to go out on top. He doesn't want to go out kicking and screaming.
It's the age-old adage of all good things must come to an end. And I kind of feel like this is the time for New England where it's coming to an end. It's not looking well. I mean, again, like you said, you have pride. And in the last 2 weeks, you've scored 3 points, and the other two teams have scored 72 against you. Like that is demoralizing and defeating. And like you said, you drafted, Mac Jones 15th a couple years ago when the Fields class and all that. Everybody knows the class. And, you thought, okay, Belichick, maybe they can bring this kid along, Alabama kid, blah, blah. And Mac just hasn't really done it. And I guarantee you that they're probably calling for Bailey Zappi right about now, regardless if Mac Jones is hurt or not. So New England will be interesting the next couple of weeks to see what happens. It could be the Bailey Zappi show before we know it, with Bill, like you said, trying to salvage this season before it really gets away from him. And like you said, then he has to kind of decide among himself that he really wants to do this anymore at that particular thing, because he's so used to such a high level of performance that this has to be bothering him tremendously with how bad it's going so far. But let's move on. We'll go with Tina. This is a kind of an interesting one because people always look for advantages, right? You always look for the edge. You always look for the way to get ahead, that sort of thing. So the last 2 weeks, the Jacksonville Jaguars have played in London. Now, the question was posed, is this an unfair thing, Tina, to the fact that 2 weeks in a row, the Jaguars, for one, didn't have to travel because they're in the same city, while another team had to come in from the States to play them. And we all saw what happened on Sunday when that happened. They beat the Buffalo Bills, which a lot of people did not predict. So is this an unfair advantage with these, Jacksonville kind of being the London home team and having a game 2 weeks in a row there? Tina, what do you think?
Absolutely. 100%. I agree. That's why, I mean, it's definitely advantage. It's an advantage for the homeowner, the owner of the team. Shaw owns a football team, a soccer team in London.
Yeah.
He's got everything set up for the team to come and camp for 2 weeks. Like, come on. That's all they had to do was get their show up maybe a couple of days ahead. I don't know when Jacksonville went to London the first week. It's a definite advantage. You don't have jet lag. You're used to the time zone. You've been able to run your regular practice for an entire week and not have to deal with any of the logistics of being able to get your team from the United States to London. Now, I will say this. The Bills, by not showing up till Friday, they screwed themselves on that one, because jet lag is a real thing, especially for an athlete. You do not show up essentially 48 hours before you're playing a game like that. They should have left earlier. I don't care if they had to leave Sunday after the game. Pack your bag for a week when you showed up for the game the week before. You're going straight to London. That's a logistical thing. But absolutely. How, and I know the NFL is always like, oh, we put everything in and blah, 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 blah. And it's just random. Well, whoever your quality control person was on these games, that should have been a big red flag right there. Like, no, Jacksonville doesn't get to use London as its home field advantage. I'm sorry. That was just bad. That was so bad.
No, it was very curious to see that in the beginning. Anyways, like, oh, they got 2 games in a row in London. That's interesting. You never see that. And a lot of people, some people,
trying to get a professional team in London.
Right. Well, I'm surprised
they team to London.
Well, they had a whole European league a couple of years back.
In London. He
Yeah.
wants to move that
whole
team to London.
It didn't do well though.
They'll be the London Jaguars. Yeah, because I mean, even though it was a Buffalo Bills home game, technically on Sunday, like you said, Jacksonville was there the whole week, got to prep, didn't have to worry about flying, traveling, none of that. And it showed to me, because watching that game, Buffalo looked like they started out very slow, and Jacksonville was able to take advantage of that early. Because if you notice, that's how the game went. Yeah, go ahead.
And Jacksonville was the home team the year before when they played the Broncos in London.
Yeah, they were true. That is true. Look, see, I knew she was going to bring it back to the Broncos.
To him,
that's right. I knew it. She brought it back to the Broncos, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming. Here we go. Watch it. I feel a profanity-laced rant coming on in the next half hour. I'm just saying she's going to explode.
No,
I'm just messing with you.
It really is. Like, you can see where the NFL wants to take Shaw in his ownership. So
he's got the bucks. He's got the cash.
Yeah. So
he's got the cash.
They want to grow this in London, and Mexico hasn't quite worked out, which I don't understand why. There's a lot of fans down in Central and South America. So.
You would think that somehow they'd find a way to make that work, as you said, because there's a huge fan base down in Mexico. Yeah, absolutely.
That's also where the first outside of Canada. That's actually the first international game that they played was actually in Mexico, not in Europe.
Was in Mexico, right? Correct. Yeah. But now that Jacksonville has found a home there, you may see them more and more often. Maybe next year it'll be 3 games they play there. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, it just because they move stadiums across the city doesn't mean anything. They're still in the same city. You know what I mean? Like, 2 different stadiums, but they're in the same city.
Signed a deal with Tottenham for Tottenham to hold the game, I think, for the next 5 years.
Is it 5? Okay, is it 5 years?
Yeah, it's for a while. So you have a team. It's just you have a team. I mean, I've already said it. Like they're doing everything to grow the Jacksonville team in London. So because it makes them popular, if he keeps coming back and back again, then the Londoners will know. Oh, it's Jacksonville. Okay. Now, whether or not football will never ever surpass their football. It's not.
Well, no, we know that we're aware of. This is Europe. Soccer is king. Football, as they call it around other parts of the world, yes, that's king in Europe. Not a question of that. But they do have some rabid football fans, and apparently Jacksonville has become their adopted team. So, I definitely will be looking to see how that plays out in the next few years, as you said, again, with Jacksonville getting a lot of those games in London. Well, we're going to take a quick break, folks. We're going to give you a minute to adjust yourselves, do what you got to do, and we'll be right back in a minute or so.
I can just say, on behalf of the entire NFL, nobody feels bad for New England. I'm sorry. We're all laughing at you. You deserve this. You deserve this. This is what you deserve. You get what you deserve. I mean, it's time for you to be bad for a while and not be good. You had your run, and now it's over. It is very much over, New England fans. Goodbye. Don't come at me. Go back to your Dunkin' Donuts. Don't care.
Wow. You've been holding that one in for a while, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't expect that clip to be that perfect.
Yeah, that was totally great. Let's just pound on New England while we got the chance, right? Just give it to them. Take it. You have to take it because we've taken you.
Like,
No,
when he said that,
I
and
think
when I saw that on Monday, because
it's like the Yankees in baseball. Everybody roots against them. Nobody wants the Yankees to win. Nobody wants New England to win.
No one wants Manchester United to win anymore, right? Is that
Exactly.
kind of thing?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
kind of?
Nobody wants the evil empires to continue to win. So yes, it is totally. And of course, that was Sean and the Walsh brothers